Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. How are we doing? Today is IELTS live solving of speaking, but since we've done part 1, part 2, part 3 many times, today we're going to follow a different approach and it's going to start with a pop quiz. Pop quiz is a surprise test. That's what we're going to have today. So I need to understand whether or not you guys know exactly what you need to do in the speaking section of the IELTS. So let's start by asking you some questions which you need to answer for me. Okay, so I'm just going to wait for you to join in. Give me thumbs up if everything... A thumbs up, sorry. Why am I omitting the articles? Give me a thumbs up if everything is good to go. You can see me clearly, hear me clearly. Your mind is clear unless you have some issues going on in life. This is not the time and place to discuss those, but hopefully everything is fine. All right. So question number 1. How many criteria do we have to assess speaking? First question, how many criteria do we have to assess speaking? Quickly, come on. How many criteria do we have to assess speaking? I'm going to write down the names of whoever's giving me answers first. Wrong answer, Arpan. गलत जवाब. आपकी धनराशि 0 हो चुकी है. Anybody else? Very good. Okay, so we have our first correct answer with Tanmay. There are 4 criteria. Name them. Name them. Name all of them. English for speaking, wrong answer, 4. Tanmay has given us the answer. The answer is 4. There are 4 different things that are assessed by examiners in the IELTS speaking test. Name these 4 criteria. I want all 4, not just one, Arpan, only then your name will come on the board. I want all 4 together. And what you have given me is half of one of the criteria. Very good. Again, Tanmay. Somebody please beat Tanmay. What are they? Fluency and coherence. Lexical resource, which is vocabulary. Grammatical range and accuracy, and finally pronunciation. Good. Now we have a true or false round. Okay. So here's the first question for true or false. Here's your first question. True or false? Pronunciation score is dependent on accent. Very good. For those of you who did not know, now you know. Pronunciation score is dependent on accent. True or false? No. Very good. Okay, now Arpan is the one to give us the answer first. Even if it's a guess, it is correct. The answer is false. No, the pronunciation score does not take accent as a factor. Accent does not matter. You need to be understood correctly. That's what matters. It is not dependent on accent. Okay? Next, true or false question. You get individual bands for all 4 criteria. True or false? Tanmay changed your answer. You get individual bands for all 4 criteria. Is this true or is this false? Okay, Chris Zone was the first one this time. True. Then what happens? You get individual band scores. So for each of these criteria that we have mentioned, you will get one individual band and then the average of that band is taken. Right? So if you got 7, you got 8, you got 7.5. Actually, this is your next question. Okay. Let's see. Let's give you a difficult calculation. What will be the final band if these are the individual band scores? What is the final band? Wrong answer, English for speaking. Wrong answer. Very good. Now we have... One second. With the correct answer, which is band 7.5. 7.5 is the right answer. Don't doubt yourself. What is the average here? If you get any score, it is always rounded up to the nearest half band or full band. Okay. So, what is the nearest band to this? 7.25. What is the nearest band? It is a half band 7.5. You can only get 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, 8, 8.5. You either get a full band or a half band. So any other number is rounded up to the nearest half band or whole band. Okay? Alright. Final question now. Actually, this is an easy question. I'll give you a more difficult one. What kind of mistakes are allowed in the IELTS speaking test? What kind of mistakes are allowed in the IELTS speaking test? Sachin, it completely depends on your personal preference and your level, which both of these things I'm not aware of, so I cannot suggest you anything. I would say try to do it for free first. Take 2 or 3 sample mock tests. If you are performing well in the mock test, then you don't need any paid course. If you're not performing well in the mock test, then you can consider a paid course. Also ask your parents what they can afford, and because it's completely possible to do IELTS preparation on your own. I think it is quite possible. It just takes a bit of discipline and dedication. So if you're already spending a lot of money on other things, then this is an expense that you can forego. I haven't gotten the one answer that I'm looking for. Tanmay, fine, but the one answer that I'm looking for, I still have not received. No, pronunciation mistakes are not excused or not allowed in IELTS speaking. You can get marked negatively for pronunciation mistakes. Tanmay, what you have said has a particular condition attached to it. What is that condition? That's what I'm looking for. Nope. I've said this many times. Try and remember. And this applies to writing as well. Lose. All right. Fail. The answer is the kind that native speakers regularly make. The kind of mistakes that are made by native speakers regularly. That means if you make a grammatical slip up, if you pronounce something incorrectly, and it is generally how Indians do it, you will lose marks or get negatively marked for it. But if you make a mistake that native English speakers constantly make or regularly make, then that will be overlooked. Okay? So that's why I keep saying for IELTS preparation, speaking especially, watch American TV shows, watch British TV shows, so you get into the habit of speaking like those people. And even if the characters make certain mistakes, those are acceptable because those are mistakes that native speakers are making. Let me give you an example. If somebody is learning Hindi, grammatically, they will not be taught that the correct form of the verb to do something is kariyo. Ye kariyo, wo kariyo. But if you come to Delhi and you listen to somebody say, give instructions or orders, ye pass kariyo, fan on kariyo, light band kariyo. They keep saying kariyo, 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 which is wrong. From a very strict grammatical point of view, it's wrong. What should it be? Kar dijiye, right? But we say kariyo, ye kariyo, wo kariyo. This is acceptable because native speakers speak like this. From a rules standpoint, it is incorrect. But from a native speaker standpoint, it is correct. So if you have an exam for Hindi speakers, or if you have the Hindi version of IELTS, they will excuse saying things like ye kariyo, because native speakers speak like this. Do you understand my point? So there are certain liberties with language that native speakers take. They purposely make some mistakes, or certain grammatical mistakes have just become the more popular way of saying certain things, which is why it is okay for you to make those mistakes as well. Same thing goes with preposition errors. There are certain prepositions that from a very strict grammatical point of view are wrong, but native speakers use them like that all the time, and so it's fine. But mistakes like using since instead of for, that is not something native speakers do. That is something Indian speakers do. So if you say, I have been doing this since a long time, this is wrong. Because no native speaker will say since a long time. Native speaker will say for a long time. The correct way to say this grammatically is for a long time. Indians tend to say since a long time. So this is a very typical Indian mistake, which if you make in the IELTS, you will be marked negatively, you will lose marks. But if you make a certain error that native speakers make, then it's fine, you will not be marked. Yeah, but see, Umar, that is slang. Okay, that ain't right. You can say that for effect, for emphasis, but that should not be how you're speaking, because it's still a formal test. Right, so that is formal versus informal language. Okay. Hi, Mohan. Alright, so you failed one question, rest of it you have it right. So these are things that you need to know about the IELTS speaking test in order to prepare for it properly, okay? How many criteria do we have? 4. What are the 4 criteria? Fluency and coherence, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, pronunciation. Pronunciation score is not dependent on accent. It is dependent upon the correct pronunciation of words, and it is dependent on whether or not the examiner is able to understand you. You get individual bands for all 4 criteria, yes, and then an average is taken, which is then rounded up to the nearest half band or the nearest whole band. So for example, if the average of your band came out to be 7.75, your band would become band 8, okay? And what kind of mistakes can you make? You should not try to make mistakes, obviously, but if you make mistakes that native speakers are making, then you can still get a band 9. If you are making mistakes that Indian speakers or foreign language speakers make, then you will lose marks, which is why please watch TV shows in English, American, British, Australian, whatever, in order to get used to how those people talk. Alright? Okay, now let's get started. Today we are going to do things a bit differently. I am going to take a vote on what topic you want to have speaking questions. So I'm going to give you 3 topics. And now I want you to vote which of these topics do you want a question from. And then we will keep flipping the topics. We will do 4 questions total. We will keep flipping the topics for every question, okay? Noise, humor, internet. Let's take a quick... Mohammed, you can use slang. I'm not saying you can't. Don't use cuss words. Do not say anything that is inappropriate. Slang here and there little bit is fine, but still remember that slang is not the formal way to talk, and this is a formalish test, so make sure that you're not using too much slang. We will take one question and then we'll flip all the topics. Today we are only doing part 1. Part 2 and part 3 we will do tomorrow. Okay, everybody is voting for internet still. So, internet it is. Here is your question. Now, how it's going to work is, I'm going to write down the question. Okay. Then I will give you 2 minutes time. I will turn on the timer. 2 minutes I will give you. In 2 minutes, I want everybody's response to the question in the chat box. Okay. I will then pick the best response and we will together analyze why the best response is in fact the best response. Okay. Alright. And then we will flip all 3 topics and we will do another question like this. Okay. Here is your question. How will the internet develop in the future? That is your question. Your 2 minutes start now. Best answer will be analyzed. Suzanne, unfortunately, I am not a fortune teller and I cannot predict the future. One minute is up. You should be typing your answer by now if you haven't started. Very good. 2 answers are already in. Now you have 20 seconds left. Anything sent after time is up will be ignored. After the time is up, any entry that is sent will be ignored. Okay? 5 seconds. Time is up. Anything sent after this will be ignored. So the 3 entries we have are from English for Speaking, Ninja Gamer, Shogata, Malakar and okay, Gorgeous Gaming. Just in the last second you sent it, so I will consider your entry. Anything after this will not be considered. Okay, the internet will develop in the future so much spontaneously, robotics and AI can participate. Okay, so English for Speaking. First thing I would like to tell you that your content is really good. What you're trying to say works. The only problem is the grammar. It is grammatically a little here and there and that's the problem. So we will enhance this answer, okay? So we will say, I think, first you give your opinion. Give a starter that conveys that this is your opinion that you're trying to give. So you can say something like, according to me, or from what I have observed, or in my opinion, I think the internet will develop spontaneously. So much over here is incorrect, right? So you will say, I think the internet will develop quite spontaneously as it has over these past few years. Robotics and AI will have a major influence on the internet, right? So here you can say, I think the internet will develop quite spontaneously as it has over the past few years. From what I can observe, robotics and AI will have a significant impact. Okay? We can already, you can give an example here, we can already see the incorporation of AI in most you can say search engines, and we can also see how the traditional search engine like Google has become redundant because chatbots, AI powered chatbots give better and easier responses. So you can add an example. Okay, Ninja Gamer, nowadays internet version is 5G. I think in the future they, okay, so very good. You have taken a different approach, which also is a fantastic answer. But again, the problem is grammar. So here you can say something like, nowadays we have 5G internet, and it is actually quite hard to believe that we've come all the way to 5G from dial-up internet, right? So in the future, I think internet speeds are primarily what's going to be affected, and we can see super high speeds to the extent that an entire feature length film can be downloaded in the blink of an eye. So a better way of saying that something can be done very fast is saying an entire feature length film can be downloaded in the blink of an eye. Shagata, you have given me points. You have not given me an answer. I am not asking for points. I am asking for a full response. Okay? Gorgeous Gaming, internet have very craze now, and then there is boom in market that AI. Okay. So here again, Gorgeous Gaming, the answer that I gave for English for speaking applies to you as well. So here I am not going to pick a best answer because there was no error-free response. A best answer will be picked only when there is an error-free response, but we have fixed the errors for all of the answers that you guys have given. Okay. Now let's move on to 3 other topics, and then you can pick what you want. Okay, these are your 3 topics: lifestyle, mobile phones, and neighbors. Quickly pick one topic. That's okay, Tanmay, you can do it now for the next question. These are your 3 topics. Majority will be chosen. We will go with the majority option. Okay, Ninja Gamer wants lifestyle. What about the rest? Okay, we have 2 for mobile phones, 1 for lifestyle. Come on quickly, everybody else. Three for mobile phones. I will wait for 1 more vote, and then maybe we can go ahead with mobile phones. Okay, 2 for lifestyle, 3 for mobile phones. Come on quickly, 1 more person, break the tie. Shogat, I've already voted. Somebody who hasn't voted yet, quickly, quickly, quickly. 1 vote per person. This is not Bihar election. Okay, now we have a tie of 3-3. Okay, broken the tie, mobile phones it is. Here's your question. Is it a nuisance when people use mobile phones in public places like buses or trains? Time starts now. Nuisance means something that irritates or annoys other people, that is an inconvenience for other people. Quickly answers for this question in the chat. The only reason I'm giving you 2 minutes is because you have to type the answer. Otherwise, it should happen spontaneously. Gorgeous Gaming, do you think that answer is long enough for IELTS speaking test? 1 minute is up. Forty seconds. Very good. Shagata sent an answer. "15 seconds. If you send your answer after the limit is up, then it will not be considered. 3 seconds. So do we have only one entry to consider here? Okay. Very good, Shagata. Only your entry will be considered. And no, I will not be lenient with time. Anonymous, you have sent it in the first second after the time was up, so I will consider your answer. Everybody else, your answer will not be considered. I will not be lenient with time because this is a timed test and you need to get used to doing things fast under pressure. Okay, Shagata's response. I think it can have different opinions. Okay, when people spoke to someone in speaker very loudly in public places like bus and trains, or watches reels in full sound, it irritates me. Shagata, good answer, very well put. Yes, it is entirely subjective. It depends on how the person is using the mobile phone. The two errors in your answer are: number one, grammatical error with subject-verb agreement. Number two, tense error. Okay, so you need to fix the tense errors and the subject-verb agreement errors. Also, when you are giving an answer, make sure it is directly in your voice. You are talking about your opinion. So you're saying, I think it can have different opinions. Why are you making it the subject? Say something like, people can have different opinions regarding this. According to me, you have to add, according to me, when people are silently using their phone, they are not being a bother. But when someone speaks too loudly or on speakerphone or watches reels in full volume, it definitely irritates me and I consider that a nuisance. Okay, that will be a full well-rounded response. Anonymous has said, yes, I think using mobile phones in public places is quite a nuisance. Always use the article a. Do you see a here? Is it a nuisance? So, quite a nuisance because it affects other people's mental health and often becomes a reason of anxiety in crowded areas. Okay, if you're saying the take that you have given is not very popular, so you have to explain a little bit in detail. Why do you think something like this can impact other people's mental health? Okay, so in this case, I think Shagata is the winner. Shagata has given a very good response. Sorry, English for speaking, your response will not be considered. Okay, maybe in the end we can do an honorary reading of all the answers that went to the graveyard because they were not sent on time. But in this case, very good Shagata, just your tense errors, your SVC errors, and making sure that you are always talking from your side and not saying vague things like it can have different opinions. Don't make the question itself. Think about it this way. When we use active versus passive voice, we use passive voice when the subject cannot be a doer. In this case, you have made it the subject. It is the question. Now the question, can it have different opinions? So you understand why that sentence is wrong logically. Question is not a living thing, it cannot have opinions. So making it the subject of this sentence does not make sense from a logical standpoint. Okay? So you can say people can have different opinions regarding this. Okay? All right, very good. Let's move on to our next 3 topics. Let's pick something really Here are your 3 topics: trees, writing, and sports. Trees, writing, and sports. These are the 3 topics. Majority topic will win. The topic that gets majority votes. Okay. But Shagata, do you mean trees by A? Okay, sports, 2 votes for sports. Everybody else, quickly give me a vote. Where are your votes, everybody else? All those of you watching, you need to vote. Come on. Participate in this democratic exercise. I feel like you guys are picking the easiest topic. You should have picked something like trees. What kind of question can be asked for trees? You should be prepared for this. Sports, anyway, you discuss all the time. Something like trees, you never discuss. So you should try and vote for something that is a weird thing that you don't know how to talk about, right? But since majority of you have gone with sports, unfortunately, because it's a majority wins situation, that's what we are going with. Personally, I would have picked trees, because what kind of question can someone ask about trees? And how will you answer in the IELTS? But your loss. So we are going with sports. Okay? I am asking a mix of part 1 and part 3 questions, okay? Now this is more of a part 3 question. So I'm giving you 4 minutes to come up with a response. You need to have a good response for this question, because this is a part 3 question, okay? I am giving you 4 minutes. I'm still being lenient with you by giving you 4 minutes. Treat this like a part 3 question. Answer needs to be longer, well-rounded, critical, good vocabulary, good arguments, and evidence to support your argument. Okay? Time starts now. 1 minute up. रोनाल्डो या मेसी में से कोई भी नहीं आ रहा है तुम्हारा आइल्स पास कराने के लिए, किसी को फर्क नहीं पड़ता है। तो अगर पढ़ाई करने की बजाय आपको यही डिस्कस करना है कि कौन बेटर है, तो कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशंस, यू आर गोइंग टू फेल। और अगर अटेंशन पे कर रहे होते तो ब्रेक समझ में आता कि ब्रेक नहीं है, टेस्ट चल रहा है, आपका टाइम है आंसर लिखने का, जो कि आप नहीं लिख रहे हो और बाकी बच्चों को डिस्ट्रैक्ट कर रहे हो। भाई तुम लोग जैसे बच्चे इंडिया में रहे तो बेटर है, बाहर जाके मुझे तो लग रहा है बेइज्जती कराओगे अब इंडियंस की। इससे अच्छा ना ही आइल्स तुम्हारा निकले, ना ही तुम बाहर जाओ, इंडिया में ही रहो भाई तुम। हेलो, okay, last minute. This is the last and final question we are doing today. So make sure, very good. Gorgeous Gaming has sent in a response with 1 minute to spare. So Gorgeous Gaming, if you want to fix up your answer a little bit, you still have 1 minute to do that. Okay? Very good. Okay. Answers coming in with 30 seconds to spare. Everybody send in your answers quickly before 30 seconds ends, because uske baad we will not consider the responses that are sent. Okay. Time is up. Very good. So as far as winner is concerned, I think I'm going to give this question to Shogata. Good, very good response. So let's read the response first. Yes, I think sports should be mandatory in all schools. It promotes physical fitness and also strengthens our mental health. Shogata, one thing you need to focus on is subject-verb agreement. Okay? Read the rules of subject-verb agreement. Make sure you understand this concept properly. You can find my video in which I've taught it also, because those are the mistakes you're making. Primarily, जो गलती आप कर रहे हो, the mistake that you're making is subject-verb agreement errors. Okay? If you fix your SVC errors, you will not make grammatical mistakes. It also teaches us leadership, friendship, and many more things. What are these many more things? If only that much you can mention, your answer will become a good answer. Okay? Now, what I also like is the fact that Annie gave a different opinion, being as far as I've observed, not as far what I have observed. It is either so far what I have observed or as far as I have observed. I think that enforcing sports and making it mandatory as for each student is not right, because everyone has their own interests, and forcing something on students only adds to their pressure. Annie, did you listen to me properly? Whenever I am reading out your answer, I am correcting your mistakes. Make sure you are listening to those corrections, everybody. Okay? Now let's go to Gorgeous Gaming's response. Yes, it is mandatory. Nahi, it should be. What is the question? Should it be mandatory? Mandatory means what? Compulsory. It is not already compulsory. The question is asking you, should it be? So your response should be, yes, it should be mandatory for all children, not children's, children, because they, now don't keep repeating the noun. We have pronouns for a reason. Because they should also focus on, never focus in, focus on sports along with their studies. The reason for this is, nowadays most children are very sedentary. What is a word that you can use here? Very sedentary, and don't get enough movement or exercise. Making sports a part of their mandatory curriculum will encourage them to get exercise and become healthier. Okay? That's how you should word your response. Finally, English for speaking. Let's take a look at your response. One sec. I think sports play a crucial role in developing not the mental strength. No article required here. Crucial in developing mental strength and physical strength of a child. Okay? Maths में आप करते हो ना? Maths में करते हो ना? की बजाय ये कर सकते हो ना? 2 common लेके. So same thing you have to do here. Strength, instead of repeating it twice, use and. Say mental and physical strength. Use the word strength once. In school, we should implement a good environment. We should implement a conducive environment for sports. Okay? And here you can say something like, I don't think this is something that should be graded, because that will only add to the pressure of a child. Sports should be encouraged as a fun, unwinding activity before or after the school day, where children can come together, play, develop skills and relax all at the same time. Okay? So that's a response you can give. And you can say something like, so you can mix the response that Annie gave and the rest of you gave. You can mix that response and you can say, I definitely think sports should be made mandatory for all children at school. But having said that, I don't think it should be a part of their graded curriculum. There are some kids who are gifted at sports, others who aren't, and those who aren't naturally gifted at sports should not be penalized. And that is why sports should be encouraged as a healthy, team building, fun cardio activity that children can come together and enjoy after a grueling school day. Okay, so this is the kind of response that you can give for a question like this. All right? Okay, very good job everybody. Well done. I wish to see some improvement in your answers, for which I am telling you the top three issues in your answer. Let me tell you. Lack of starters. In my opinion, I definitely think so. I am on the fence about this. The more I think about it, the more I feel these kind of starters are extremely necessary. Okay, there are lack of starters in your questions. Okay. Second is grammatical errors. Specifically, SVC, misplaced or lack of articles, which is a and the, and tense. These are the three major errors that you guys are making in your grammar part. All right? Not enough explanation or examples. Okay, you need to add some sort of explanation, which is a justification for your opinion, and examples. These can be from your own life, your own experiences. Okay? Alright. A2 Gaming OG, I will gladly want it to become 10. So I'm requesting you to please leave. Okay? Alright. So please work on these things. Shogata, for you specifically, this is a major issue. Okay? Lack of starters and SVC mistakes, major issue, and one tense mistake also you made. Otherwise, your evidence, your explanation, your examples are good, right? So please make sure you're focusing on these two things. The rules of SVC, misplaced, lack of articles. In fact, for grammatical errors, I will do a session next week, okay, where we will tackle each grammatical concept one by one, all right? Okay. Great job, everyone. So today we did part 1 and part 3 questions. Tomorrow we are going to do part 2 questions, which is your long turn. One second, I need to cough. All right, yes. So tomorrow we are going to do part 2 in a similar way. I will give you different topics, and tomorrow I want to see if one or two will do part 3 questions also, and I want to see that you have worked on these mistakes and that you're not making these mistakes anymore. Little bit, read up, it will take 10-15 minutes. Watch the video on SVC. Try to refresh your memory. You have learned this in school, okay? So make sure you're remembering the grammatical rules, and I wish to see an improvement here. All right, that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you so much, everyone. Good afternoon, Nitish, but you have reached us at the end of the session today. I will see you all tomorrow, okay? And I will make sure that the spammers are not spamming tomorrow. We'll get them blocked, okay? So that we can have a nice, conducive learning environment. Thank you so much. Do subscribe to the channel if you were new here and if you found it helpful. And don't forget to follow us on our Telegram so you don't miss out on updates. You will get all the links in the description below. I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.